Friday, September 16th. Just got home from camping. It was intense. It was definitely intense. Intense in that this is the first time that I hike from my car to the campground. Usually I've done, car camping where you park your car, that's where you set up. This is different because it definitely makes you think twice about what you're carrying, how much you're carrying. I didn't realize it until like the night before, or a couple nights before. I was like, oh snap, this is like almost a mile away. I forgot that I had a backpack, the bucket list family backpack, the smaller one. I wish I could have gotten the bigger one, but it did its job in terms of like, for an overnight, it's great. I bought a tent, my own tent, but it's a 3-person tent. I like the space of a 3-person tent, but it's definitely heavier to carry. And I bought a sleeping bag, so I carried all that on my back. So my back's definitely sore, but it was a good workout, a good hike there, and then the hike back. Setting up everything by myself for the first time with my cousin. I didn't realize it was their first time sleeping alone in the tent too. So it was like both of our firsts. So there was like this, camaraderie, or just the sense of like we're on the same page. Like there's this feeling of like similar experiences, right? Similar milestones. And we even talked about like, what are your thoughts about like being in the dark and alone, right? And have you ever considered camping, doing those trail camping type longer ones, right? Now, an overnight, alone, hiking alone at night. Where the ocean or the beach place that we stayed at was gorgeous. I've never seen it. That's one of my new favorite places. It's one of my new favorite places where we stayed at. I think I'll probably do it again. Maybe even alone. I think at least there, just because of it's a great first timer place. The car's not far away. It's like a mile. And then it's like you're in the wilderness, but then the beach, like you can hike to the beach, which I thought was really neat. The sleep, I didn't take a pad to put underneath my thing because I was already carrying a lot, and so I forgot, that I'm bottom heavy, and so it tilts my spine when I lay flat. So I forgot about that feeling. I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. So it took me a long time to go to sleep, tossing it. I forgot. I was counting it, and I don't remember the last time that I went camping. It was over 5 years ago. So this was definitely like a good, let's ease back in, but at the same time not, because you're carrying all your stuff. But it was a wonderful experience. I just wanted to document that this was my first overnight where I'm carrying all of our stuff. Like we carried like the big water gallons and the food, like just it was just wonderful. I just don't want to forget it. Had dreams. Well, just the tossing and turning that night was really uncomfortable because of the back, my bum issue. And then I felt everything. I need to look up if there was an earthquake because I woke up, the ground was shaking, and I was happy, like it just woke me up. It woke me up. So I don't know what that was. So the dream was all about work. The feeling was work. The second dream was telling me to get up. And that second dream, so there was another family that was camping there. I remember hearing them leave. But in my dream, they were like researchers, and they were waking us up, and I was naked. And I, like, because I normally don't sleep with a shirt on or a top on because I'm on my mat, and so I was shirtless in my sleeping bag, and they're looking inside, and the feeling that I got was to get up, like let's get going. But in my dream, my cousin was taken away. She was already being taken away into like some researching, and the first thought in my mind was, where's my cousin? Where's my cousin? They have been taken away. So coincidentally, my cousin shared that in their dream, they were taken away. They were taken away, not by a research team, but just taken away to some special school. So I knew that dream. Like, it's funny. Like, now I know that that's that dream. That's the type of dream that's like, okay, you've overslept. So those were the only dreams that I had. I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, it was a great morning. Great morning. And I'm exhausted. So I think I'm gonna take a shower, maybe take a nap, and just get back to doing what I need to do. But I just want to record that. My first camping overnight where I carry all my stuff. Type of trip. My hair is like so greasy. All the sweat. For breakfast we went to Shoreline Cafe, which was really cool. I don't want to forget that place either. They were so nice. The food was delicious. We decided to have a little bit of everything because it's their birthday, so I said let's just order and we'll just share. So we had a burger for breakfast and mole for breakfast and blueberry pancakes. It was a perfect combination. The mole was very light. She used the word velvety. I used the word gentle to describe it. And we were talking about how we use words to describe things. And I'm like, the only word I can think of is gentle. And then they tasted it and they're like, velvety. And I was like, yes. And then the burger was heavy, but very flavorful. And then the sweetness. And then our coffee was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah. Okay, that's it. One more thing. We were talking and I realized, I may have shared this before, but I didn't remember if I did, or it just didn't sit with me, the realization, the awareness, that because it's the transparency thing, I mentioned to them about, so I one of my gifts to them, they haven't opened it yet, but was the second collection of poems, and I wrote a beautiful letter. I thought it was beautiful to them about it. And in our conversation, I mentioned to them about a friend of mine wanting to help me edit my work, and how my friend told me, to trust my readers, but also, right, means to trust myself in the process. And so then my cousin said, I did never give you my notes for my first poem that I wrote. I said no. So one of the things that she was just like, I can't believe I never gave it to you. I said, no, you didn't. And I said, please, like, I'm open to feedback. So one of the things they said was that I translate myself. I was like, that's an interesting way to describe what I do. I translate myself. So I've been sitting with that statement, I translate myself. And that it's okay to leave some mystery. Leave some mystery is what they said to me. Leave some mystery. Which is the same thing that what my friend said, in the sense of like, you don't have to feed it to them, right? To your readers. Trust your readers that they'll get it. I translate myself. So I've been sitting with that. In my letter to them, I had a play off words with books, right? I think I mentioned it. And one of the books is a poetry book that called my attention, and it's titled, what is it titled? Adaptaciones, something, adaptations, Engaños por a primera vista. It's a poetry book. I loved it. It was interesting. It was all about palm trees. But there was this perfection in it, this element of perfection with the randomness of some of the photographs. And because you would assume that most of the photographs are about palm trees, but they're not. And they are at the same time. An extension of, maybe? I have to go back and read it again. But there was just a randomness with the visuals. Like if you weren't to read it, you'd see a theme and then there's randomness. And I liked how there's this beginning, the birth of the palm tree in California, and then the end of the palm tree. And just the tile itself, I think, was what attracted me to it. And then I realized, right, engaños a primera vista. And then I was thinking about just words and this element of being mysterious, secretive, or a liar. And how they're all, and that's like, would you consider someone who's mysterious a liar if they're not completely being transparent, right? Would you consider someone who's secretive as a liar? Is that closer to being a liar if they're withholding information? And just the interesting play of words, right? And then viewing myself, right, from going silence all the way to una habladora, right? Habladora to silence. And in the middle, it's more of what? Discerning of what you're going to share. You translate yourself. And then I was wondering, like, where did that come from for me? How did I get to a point where I felt the need to translate myself, you know? So then I realized, well, it's because I never felt understood. Maybe I want to make sure that I'm understood. Is it the teacher part of me that breaks things apart into digestible means to feed it to the kids? And then I thought about that part of, like, you know, the play off words. What did I write? The play off words when it comes to teaching. You leave them alone, you guide them, or you feed them. So I titled this one, Mediocre Poetry. If it's even that, I don't know. 3 puffs. Mysterious, secretive, mentirosa. Ranges of intensity. Habladora, discerning, silent. With my words. I told my cousin that lying was a form of expansion. You translate yourself. Trust yourself. Trust your readers to get it. Teach me. I will learn the rules of your word art, but only to break them one day. Random, integrated, orderly, chaos, cooperation, control. Leave them, guide them, feed them. But just thinking, right, the ranges, and then that statement that in the letter, I told my cousin that lying was a form of expansion. When we change our minds. For some people, that's considered lying, right? I took a marriage vow. I don't even remember those vows because they weren't even mine. I didn't write them. Someone else wrote them and I just repeated them. And then I changed my mind. Am I a liar? Or was I just expanding? Did I outgrow that situation? I kept a secret about my affair. I was secretive, right? Secretive, to a certain degree mysterious, depending on who was asking the questions. To some people, I was a liar, mentirosa, right? We live in a society where changing our mind is frowned upon. I didn't tell him about the affair, but I waited until after to tell him about the affair. When I was ready, when I felt safe. We speak our truth when we feel safe to do it. The only way we feel safe is when we trust ourselves, right? It's when we trust ourselves. When we grow more comfortable with ourselves and who we are. And that was another conversation that my cousin and I had, was this awareness that we have with our relationship with our mother. This awareness of how my cousin turns the age of my aunt's, her mom's, the year that she was born, and how she was being tripped out about that. And I said, I know what you're feeling. I felt the exact same way the moment that I turned 21, which was the year that my mom had me. I was like, there was just this like relief of like, I made it this far. For me, it was this far of not getting pregnant. I made it, right? Because that was always one of my fears, that I would get pregnant before my mom's age. So when there was just this surrealness of experiencing 21 in a way that my mom hadn't had an opportunity to, because she got pregnant. And how her life was altered after that. And so there was this like expansion within me of like, oh my gosh, I don't like there was restriction of fear and of like, of what could be before I reached 21. And I remember the relief after that. I was like, okay. And I don't know if it was judgment, you know, if I got pregnant before then or at that point, or just surpassing my mom in that respect, right? Knowing that I am an expansion of her. Like, all children are an expansion of their parent. But then parents get triggered by that too. They want the best for their child, but then when their children reach the best, then the parent is like, who have you become? You have forgotten your roots, right? But it's like, you wanted them to expand, to be different, to be beyond. So there's this surrealness, right, of how very similar stories where when we were younger, we clashed a lot with our moms. And now that we're older, I was telling my cousin, I said, I feel like my relationship with my mom is the best that it's ever been. But it took me having to move away to create physical space to nurture that. I said, I talk to her more now than I've ever before. Like, I call her on a weekly basis, almost on a weekly basis, which is something I've never done. And it's fun. I look forward to, you know, her madness, and I get to share my madness. And it's almost like the stuff that used to trigger each other is now the stuff that we feel like, you know, aligned with each other. Because now I know her because I know myself. That's what I told my cousin. I said, you know, I realize that the more comfortable you are with yourself, the more comfortable you are with other people who used to trigger you. Because you have that sense of security and trust and knowing, this knowing of who you are. And that it doesn't, no one else has the ability to tear me down anymore. And there's comfort in that, in holding that power within, right? Translate yourself. I translate myself. I will play by the rules so that I can know how to break them. That's what I've decided to do with regards to poetry, word art. You translate yourself. Is it because I'm transparent? I translate myself to be seen. I like that. I translate myself to be seen. I need a shower. I think that's it. Hey you, my name is Yubi and I use she, they pronouns, and you've just finished watching a clip from my video diary entries where I'm documenting my healing journey as I learn how to navigate my spiritual awakening. I have learned that this experience and process is unique to each and every one of us in whatever way we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of formal mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself as these experiences unfold, and really inviting you along for the ride. Please know that there is a time gap between when these videos post and my real timeline, and also that these clips build upon each other similar to chapters in a book. So if you find yourself lost or confused, feel free to click on the playlist section or the link below, where you can jump around, check out the other chapters, and or catch up. Also, please know that you're more than welcome to check out my website, www.youbecominghealed.com, where I've gathered all of this information, my background, experience, and education to create online self-paced courses to help you on your healing journey wherever you are. You're also more than welcome to check out my other YouTube channel at You Becoming Healed, where I've entertained a podcast, including clips from these courses so that I can make this content accessible to more and more people. Please click like, subscribe, and share this content so again it reaches more people, with the hopes that other people will resonate and connect with the healing journey and the stories shared so that they don't feel alone in their own process. I thank you in advance. I'm grateful to you, and I wish you well.